A legacy is defined as something of value passed on to future generations. Everyone leaves a legacy, but it's the benefit to future generations that determines its value. One timeless legacy carries the name Telfair. In 1875, Mary Telfair envisioned her need to leave a legacy to future generations of Savannahans. To carry on the family heritage, she willed her estate to be used exclusively for educational purposes. In 1886, her legacy was realized in the Telfair Academy of Arts and Sciences, and now the Telfair has the distinction of being the oldest public art museum in the Southeast. It houses an extensive permanent collection, hosts important traveling exhibitions, provides a variety of educational opportunities, and preserves the historic 19th century Telfair Academy and Owens Thomas House.
About 20 years ago, the Board of Trustees of the Telfair Academy of Fine Arts recognized the need for an additional building, a building that will handle all of those programs that we can't cover in an 1819 building with an 1886 addition to it. So what the board did, they had the vision to plan for this building and fundraise for this building, and it's about to become a reality.
That vision is now presented as the Jepson Center for the Arts, named for its benefactors, Mr. and Mrs. Robert S. Jepson, Jr. Designed by renowned architect Moshe Softy, this architectural landmark is a masterpiece of the 21st century, and with it, the Telfair is making new history in the historic district.
When you say to an architect, Savannah, it immediately conjures up exotic image of one of the great cities in the United States, one of the great historic cities of the United States. But the Oglethorpe plan is so powerful, and the rhythm that it establishes for the buildings on the squares, the buildings along the boulevards, the extraordinarily mature trees everywhere, all of that really creates an architectural environment which is omnipresent and very rich. The design process is, particularly in the embryonic phases, is very dynamic. I begin by sketching in my sketchbook, and the sketchbook is a wonderful vehicle for concentration. But very shortly thereafter, I need models to sort of work back and forth from models to sketches. And we begin with small models, larger models, clay models, cardboard models, larger wood models. Soon after, certain studies can occur on the computer, studying geometries and so on. But it goes back and forth, sketchbook, model, some computer studies, in a kind of a cycle of exploration. You feel the need to relate to the heritage of the place. You also know that it is important to make a statement about what architecture is all about in the 21st century, what a museum is all about in the 21st century, but somehow manage to do so in harmony with this extraordinary heritage of the Oglethorpe plan and the city that evolved out of that plan.
The Telfair Academy and the Owens Thomas House are captivating works of art, monumental sculptures in and of themselves, but they also serve as frames that house precious works of art. The frame is not the key. A frame serves to enhance, protect, and to preserve the work of art. But it is what a frame preserves that is primary. Frames change, but the art lives on unchanged for posterity. The new Jepson Center for the Arts is a new monumental sculpture, a building of its time, providing a frame to preserve modern and contemporary works of art.
Many architects believe that it is very difficult to create an authentic contemporary building in harmony with the historic setting. But in my own work, having built in Jerusalem, having built in historic parts of the United States, such as Salem, I always seek to create a building which is in harmony with the values and the heritage of a place, while at the same time being authentic to its program, to its use, to the values that we aspire today, and to the technology of construction today. Museums today are very different to what they used to be. They are no longer introvert places, exclusive places. They are open to the public at large. They must be transparent. They accommodate a rich array of social and cultural activities. They must reach out. And the architecture must reflect that change in the place of museum in the life of society. A museum must be extrovert and transparent and tell you of the activities of what goes on within as part of the story of its architecture. And I feel that this building, by being contemporary, transparent, open, but at the same time harmonious and respectful, will show that there is a way to go forward into the 21st century to make a statement about what the new museum for society in our century is all about. All around the square are solid buildings. I wanted to make a counterpoint, a facade which is very transparent, all glass, behind which is a major stone wall, and that is opened up and has a grand stair rising and visible from the square up to the higher levels where the galleries are. So that because it is a north-facing facade and shaded by the oak trees, at some moments during the day it would reflect the trees, it would be almost melting into the environment of the square. At other times, the sun would hit the stone wall, or at night when the building is lit, the glass would totally disappear and you would see the curved stone wall which contains the square like a traditional building. The museum wanted, in the new wing, contemporary galleries, changing exhibition galleries, interpretive museum for children and education, auditorium, and a space in which the social activities of the museum could occur, which I placed directly on Telfair Square as part of the square environment. The building has a series of events, a kind of a ritual. You begin with a space which is part of the square. It is the foyer, the lobby, the great hall. It is literally under the oak trees. From there, there's a sense of ascent. The grand stair rises towards the light, towards the south, and as you ascend, you reach a point where you overlook Oglethorpe Boulevard. And it is at that point that you are at the level of all the galleries, all of which receive daylight, and form a loop around that grand stair, which is rising towards the light.
Just as Mary Telfair left her legacy, other people of vision have joined her in donating their resources. Although these generous donors are many in number, the words of a few express their common heart.
Alice and I moved here about 17 years ago and very quickly became involved with the Telfair. And as quickly we determined that the Telfair had inadequate facilities for what all of us envisioned the future of the city to be. Savannah is blessed with a first-class art school that is world-renowned. Its reputation is one of excellence, and the future for Savannah will be in art and the arts. And we thought a first-class museum, in addition to the oldest museum in the South, would be something that would further that reputation for arts and a center for the arts. So 7 years ago, I was challenged by Mrs. Frieda Moore to dream big dreams with her, and today we're standing in the reality of that dream. A first-class building and a first-class city with a first-class future.
This wonderful new Jepson Center is a great indication of Savannah's commitment to the Telfair and to arts education in our community. Like many of you, I've been involved in a number of fundraising activities. This is the largest fundraising activity in the history of Savannah, and candidly, one of the easiest. Savannahans just wanted to give to the Jepson Center. When Gigi and I first had children, a wise older friend gave us some great advice. He said you owe your children two things. One is your unconditional love, and secondly is the best possible education you can afford. Well, you know, the Jepson Center is really Savannah following that very wise advice.
The Jepson Center for the Arts is stunningly beautiful. It is a building for the 21st century. It's particularly appropriate since Telfair has represented the excellence in art as well as in fine arts over the years. To have magnificent new structure to house 21st century contemporary art. Our auditorium is a magnificent addition to the Telfair. So for all those reasons, we're proud of the legacy for the future.
Mary Telfair's vision for her legacy placed a priority on an educational component.
I am sitting in a glass house, and this house is part of our education hands-on studio. Well, this floor and this glass house is just part of one section of the education department. It is the interactive galleries. Education is really what it's all about, and really what the whole building is about. And part of it is that children in some schools don't have any art education or music education. I think when people come out of here, they are going to look at Savannah in an expanded way, in new light.
Whether they use crayon on paper, pencil on a sketch pad, a brush on canvas, or computer and digital technology, future artists will continue to emerge and create. Their inspiration will come from many sources, within for sure, but also from those who encourage them, and certainly from experiencing the world of art for themselves. The Jepson Center for the Arts will not only preserve modern and contemporary works of art for future generations, it will inspire those generations of artists as well as those who admire and appreciate their work, uniting the past with the present and linking the present to the future. It's a connection of human achievement and vision that is truly Telfair timeless. Indeed, the legacy of Mary Telfair marches on through the Telfair Academy, the Owens Thomas House, and now the Jepson Center for the Arts.